Happy May 13th.
Happy May 13th. Woo!
May 13th. What is going on, everybody?
It's like halfway through Q2 of 2022 right now.
Yeah, it is.
I
love May, dude. I love real estate in May.
Yeah.
May is one of the best times for real estate because kids are getting out of school, people looking for houses, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's looking for that pool home right about now.
God, I wish I had a pool home.
Love it. It's not raining quite yet. This is perfect real estate season. If you ain't crushing it in Q2, you're doing something wrong. Those are facts. You can make excuses around the holidays. Nah, not me, baby.
Love that. Yeah, nice weather in Florida today here too. I even had a little unexpected full disclosure. I had my coffee out on the balcony couch, got a little 10-15 minutes tanning in before to start the day, get some vitamin D. Wasn't even planning. It was just so nice. I was like, you know what?
We'd
be nice.
Make everybody jealous of your Miami life.
Might as well get out there a little bit.
Fluorescent lights in the office, guys. I don't. Hopefully, I'll get home. And I'll get home to my pool. That's what I'm doing after this.
There you go.
All right.
Pool party. We'll shoot the address in the chat here for the pool party later tonight. But I wanted to bring up just something and bounce off you guys. Something I'm seeing just in the pulse because just relatively talked to a good bit of investors, just day-to-day job, and some people that are looking to get started with investor fuse or just people in the wholesaling space. And one thing that I've noticed that is a trend that kind of sets people up for success in wholesaling, we'll stick to wholesaling, is they have been in every department of their business. Like they've done it all. They've pulled data, they've talked to sellers, they've talked to buyers, they talk to title companies, they go to RIAs, they get in Facebook groups, maybe Discords now. John and I have been talking about that this week, Discord channels. Yeah. But they have been in it. Like they have done it. Like they haven't just watched a YouTube video and then tried to hire somebody to do an aspect of the business. And I'm noticing an uptick in that now, maybe because I'm talking to people more so that are starting off maybe in their first year, 2 years of doing real estate. Yeah. But man, I just want to tell a lot of people, get your hands dirty in doing every aspect of this business as possible instead of like trying to like sit on a throne or sit on the top of your business and just try to just hide something cold calling. And like Papa P is probably a good example. This has great, feedback here.
I mean, who have you've been talking to people?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, and this is so that the people that I'm seeing are more so people that I'm meeting for the first time. People that I've known that I started off with that have done this, like CC Garland is a perfect example. He's somebody that was military, got into real estate. He was huge on texting at first. So he did all the aspects of his business. Since then, built up a massive wholesaling company. He enjoys marketing and having systems and metrics around marketing. So now, years later, 6-8 years later, however long he's been doing that, he is able to sit in a throne, which is just a dark room for him, and calculate KPIs and set up marketing campaigns
that's fun
all across
for him.
the country.
That's
exactly.
That's his thing, right?
Exactly. But that's so many good people.
Are you saying you're seeing more people, like more successful people who focus on running their business, or are you saying the new up-and-comers are doing that, or the new up-and-comers are trying to hire people immediately and not do what, say, CC Garland or other successful people? Can you elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, 100%. New up-and-comers are trying to hire out and delegate too early.
Oh, yeah.
Like without even like dipping their toe in the water. They're trying to learn how to breaststroke without even putting their feet in the pool.
That's a good analogy. Well, would you say, so like, how long is CC Garland? I don't know him personally. How long has he been in the business?
Probably 8 years, 8-ish years.
So would it be safe to say, and this is a shot in the dark, that maybe that's because 8 years ago, right, and when I started real estate, we didn't have people selling us things. Whereas today, the new guy comes in, their favorite guru is like, hey, listen, I got a VA company. Just buy a couple. Buy a guy to do your marketing. Buy a guy to do your cold calling. Buy a guy to do your KPIs, right? Like, would you feel that correlation is a lot to do with people selling these services now and on the backs of, say, the Filipinos and Egyptians and Spanish people? Central Americans?
100%. That's definitely a parallel, like, variable to why that is, I think. and just it becoming more mainstream. Like, it's just so interesting. We talked about some previous episodes too. Like, wholesaling is just becoming more mainstream. Like, people I meet in Miami, like civilian people that aren't even in real estate, know what wholesaling is from YouTube and TikTok. It is absolutely mind blowing. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
He's like, hey, is this what you do? Dude, like, kind of, this is what I do. Yeah.
Kind of.
I do a lot, but yeah.
But I was going to say, I think one other point with like that, and like, there's nothing wrong. Like, and maybe if you did have all the money in the world and wanted to delegate everything, you could have revenue come back in. But I think it's just so much more effective. And the second kind of sub point to that, it's like fulfilling too. Like, it's crazy, like how like people like are always, that's the whole point of life, is to have joy and happiness, at least for most people. It's crazy how much of that will, sponsored by Pellegrino. It's crazy how much fulfillment that you get just from doing the work and realizing like that is the actual gift in itself. Like, you might have like some monotonous work, but like, it's funny how it's like a paradox, like how you actually do the work, you get happy from just being busy to a certain extent, and you could be doing shitty stuff that you don't enjoy, but in general, get your hands a little dirty, just dive into the pool, man. Get in there.
Dive into the pool.
Get into Papa P's pool.
Yeah, I got a Bitcoin raft, top on top, baby. It's like a giant Bitcoin island.
I saw that. That was funny.
So listen, so I wanted to ask you something. So like, where we were talking about these people who have been doing it and doing it themselves. I mean, so a lot of it, because you sent me a post by Max Maxwell where he was specifically talking about this. And like, there are certain people, right? Because there's the difference between some of these people who got into it to do real estate. Then you were talking about the TikTok stuff, people getting into it, whether it's flipping, whether it's wholesaling, whatever you want to say, because it's the cool thing to do. So naturally, they don't want to build a business. They want to make the money. There's a big difference in anything. Like, and I would say with trading, whether you're trading stocks, Forex, crypto too, there's a big thing with that's who you identify with and you love the process because this is who you are and this is what you want to do, versus the guy saying, this is my quickest way to make money. So like, I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to get out. I'm going to go do the next thing. Shit, we always talk about shiny object syndrome. And I would say, like, I know a lot of guys, just like you do, and you're saying like CC Garland, who have been in it longer. Those are the people that have done the stuff, the work, the marketing. And, you know, you don't have to be good at everything. You could be everything, do a little bit of everything, or really focus on one thing. And that's the benefit of hiring out right now. Would you say these newer people are like, because again, I know you talk to a lot of them, especially John and Carlos with your guys' software, right? Like, you guys are down in the nitty gritty with the new companies, the medium-sized companies, and the large companies. Would you say they're finding as much success just delegating? And don't be biased, but like, are they finding as much success delegating out versus taking the proverbial tortoise approach, right? And doing it themselves instead of being like a rabbit and just jumping into it and trying to win a race?
I mean, I would say, and I think Carlos can add a little bit more color to this, but I would say that they might find more success in terms of speed to money because they're adding an element of scale at the beginning where they can have now more people dialing, more phones ringing to sellers. But that doesn't seem to sustain because then you'll start to encounter the problems associated with, oh, well, now I've got to figure out how to have consistent lead flow and or just like even management conversations of like, well, these cold colors aren't performing the best right now. How do I train them, right? The people that get in there and do the dirty work themselves, they seem to, I mean, like, it's harder to get started, right? Because you're doing it yourself, you're learning it yourself. So you don't quite have the volume straight out the gate. But you get so much more understanding about the inner workings of the business and the departments you need to have and the work you need to do to get a deal done. So it's like an interesting kind of situation.
I guess you could say it comes down to whether you want to be a business person and run businesses or whether you want to just make money and not run a business or make money and sit poolside. You know?
Yeah, but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, that was all I was going to say, other than like, it depends on like your personality. I will never be satisfied. You could give me all the money in the world and say, Brandon, you don't have to do anything. I'm still going to want to build and do something. It's in my nature. I have ideas. But what I will say is I have more respect for the business and business people now that I've learned how to run a business. Because I will be honest with you and say, when I was younger in my 20s, I made good money, really good money, but I didn't know how to run a business. And I was insulted when people didn't think I could run. I'm not going to name names, but there are people close to me who didn't think I could run a business. And at that time, they were right because I didn't know how. My ego said, I'm making money, I'm running businesses. No, dude, you're hustling, you're making money. It wasn't until in my 30s when I started learning from people, right? And I would say Raphael was like the first person that I saw that you could turn it into a business, and especially Carlos and Sal, like you would see that happening. And I love the process, man. It's not easy, but John, you're right with like the problems you can encounter, right? But it's hard because, so here's a catch-22. What do you guys believe in here? Ready? Somebody's saying, hey, listen, do it the hard way, drudge it out, learn on your own, or take some mentorship, but come up with your own processes, your own systems, do it all yourself. Or, hey, listen, I have a pre-built CRM, don't design your own. I have a VA, don't try to go out and learn how to hire, how to do proper pay scales, how to bonus properly. Don't figure out how to do the interview process properly. Okay, I got cold callers for you. Don't figure out what metrics and how to coach them. Hey, listen, I saw a guy, a very good guy, but I saw him now advertising. He's got closers for sale. And so now, like, if your entire business is outsourced, are you a business or are you just a guy who's plug and play, and when one thing goes wrong, you don't know how to fix it?
That's it. That's it. So there's like that. There's almost three dichotomies to this, right? There's the people who, yes, like, oh, I see a plug and play system, and I'm going to go grab that, pay for that, and then do it. And then there's the people who are, I'm going to hustle through it. I think there's a middle ground, like maybe you don't want to hustle through it, and you want some element of the plug and play, but you have to have the funds to bring in people who can handle the problems when they come up. And like somebody has to be involved in the organization that has the experience to handle the problems that will occur, as they always will with your cold call team, your dispositions team. If nobody's in that situation to experience, to guide the ship as it goes through, then it's going to sink.
Yeah, and like how?
And the plug and play systems don't have that.
Yeah, like, well, how do you hire somebody? So like, I love not being. I was always like the smartest person in my company. Because I was the best at it all, right? And that's not a good thing. That's not a compliment. But now I got, like, I'll use an example. I got a guy who's better at data than me. Yesterday, normally I could talk circles around you when how to organize, the average person, like how to do data, how to organize this, how to present this. Yesterday, he's explaining his thoughts and his ideas to present this new thing to me. I cut him off and I was like, listen, I started laughing. I was like, listen, dude. I was like, I'm with whatever you're saying. I can't visualize what you're saying. I understand your concept, but I'm pretty sure this is better than what I was coming up with. Why don't you put it together and present it to me? I love your ideas and I love the fact that you're coming. And at that moment, I realized he's beyond me.
Yeah.
And I love that. He's beyond me. I've taught him how my company operates, what he needs to know, and he's beyond me. But I taught him that because I was the guy that did it. I wasn't phenomenal at it. I knew enough to be, to be dangerous, but he's a straight killer.
Yep.
He's the guy you want to pay to do it. And now he's better than me. And now he talks over me in intelligence on that topic. And that's the satisfaction. That's my satisfaction. Right. And that's the thing is like, but how I would have never been able to get that guy. Like, what was I supposed to do? Just hire someone and be like, hey, listen, I need some dashboards. I need some KPIs. Like, I don't know what I want to track. Figure it out and let me know. Because guess what? I've also been that guy.
Yeah.
And I've made mistakes and then I've had to fire people, get better, hire someone, fire them, me get better, hire someone. And eventually, like, it's a path, man. I think Carlos said it. It is like it's a path. It's like this tradition you have to go through, this rite of passage you go through, and then you get the satisfaction of building, if that's your thing. And if not, like if you just want to get rich quick, because I know a lot of people do, that's not a bad thing. But then you can't sit here and say you know how to operate a business and scale a company. You know how to plug in what other people have scaled and done. But the second that company, and it happened to me, the owner of that company dies suddenly. All of a sudden, you lost your entire marketing team. What do? All of a sudden, your entire cold call company that you're outsourced to shuts down or implodes. What do? How do you come over that?
I know the answer because I talked with you through this.
Yeah. You got to figure it out, bro, and you have to do it. Yeah, Carlos, I think this is a very good topic, and I don't know. Yeah. I think it's tough to say. You could take either side of the ball, I guess is what I'm saying. It depends on your perspective. But I think you get a better perspective on business when you've done it yourself and a better respect for the people that work for you. I think what Max Maxwell was saying too, and correct me if I'm wrong on that post, is you can't hire people and just expect them to do the job and for it all to work out. You can't just say, hey man, like, here's your job. I've never done it. I don't know. Go figure it out. I'm going to go sit by the pool or on the proverbial, like on the throne, and I'm going to go brag to my Instagram and show pictures of my Zoom call or like my office and be like, look at how many people I got. And you have them now. Will you have them in 2 months?
I guess you could, but you'd almost have to hire another entrepreneur to be that person. And that's like, we're talking, you're a millionaire and it's possible for you to go in and do that. Like that requires a crap ton of funds. That
requires money. Another,
that
there's
we
guys
encounter that are not doing that.
You hire like a C-level sweet guy. You're paying him $150, $250 a year. He's not an entrepreneur. He's what's called an intrapreneur, which is phenomenal, right? A lot of people don't think about that. They're always trying to find another entrepreneur to partner with. Try to find an intrapreneur, someone who loves to build from the within of what you already have. But guess what? If I'm going to go find a company, if I don't know how to build one, there's guys who go buy a company, visionary it, find the people to put into place and let them run it. But yeah, you're talking you got to cash flow that. You got to funnel, you got to fund that whole thing.
Yes, you do.
And look at someone said you can't grow anything without planting the seeds first. Wise person can't grow anything without planting the seeds first. That's right, man. It's harvest season. You got to sow in order to get to harvest season, right? You got to prepare that land in order to harvest it.
I think even in that situation where you're a millionaire and you bring an entrepreneur in, or intrapreneur, excuse me, to run some new business venture, you still would have had to have like run your own business at some point because you then had to know how to communicate to that person. And it's like, we've never heard of somebody who won the lottery and suddenly got $200 million becoming like the next Mark Zuckerberg, right? That's never
all of a sudden they bought like a giant company and ran it effectively. Like the next Marcus Lemonis, you know what I mean? Like you got to pay your dues. You know what I find funny is real estate people love to preach rich dad, poor dad, rich generational wealth. Don't pass on to your kids what you've gained, pass on what you've learned. They want to preach all these things about how wealthy people teach their kids and how to pass it on. But what they don't understand is you got to live that, right? Like I would never let one of my kids, right? And I hope to one day my daughter or son or my daughters or son come through and say, Dad, I want to run the business. Guess what they're doing? Get out there, put a sign in the effing yard, right? Go put a bandit sign out, go become a realtor, start at the bottom, go lay some tile like I did, because I can't run a construction crew if I've never done construction before. I can't sell real estate if I've never sold. That's my belief.
Yep.
So you got so many people saying that they wouldn't do that to their kids, so why would you do that to yourself by trying to jump to the top of the hierarchy or throne without putting in the hours?
Well, yeah, Max is definitely the king of documenting that whole process of doing every single aspect of your business. And I would say, like, that's what I was kind of saying is like, just a majority of people that I know that have long-term success, long-term consistent success in this business, little tongue twister there, have done all the different aspects. And if you outsource from the beginning or like try to delegate from the beginning, you don't know if they're being effective because you don't have anything to weigh it against. So it's like you could look for KPIs or something like that, but you really don't know unless you've done it yourself.
You're going to look for other people's KPIs. You're going to be the idiot on the webinar going, so how many calls to connect is good? No, bro, go fucking split test it and you tell me what's good. That's what we all did to figure it out, right? Yeah.
So knock it out, guys. To recap, it's just way better if you've done all the different aspects to know. So then you can make an intelligent decision when you look to outsource something, whether it's effective, if you're leveraging your time, money, and resources better, teammates and stuff. And at the end of the day, even if it sucks in the moment, you're going to be like more fulfilled and happy. Like that night when you're eating dinner or kicking back, you're like, damn, I put in a good day's work today. I'm feeling pretty good. If you're laying out by the pool, you're going to be like, man, I felt pretty good, doing X, Y, Z in my business today. So get to work.
In story time here, guys, because I feel like the other thing, right, is at some point you're going to have somebody challenge you. At some point, somebody's going to question and it's inevitable, right? Just because you're the boss doesn't mean people don't question you. You should really encourage questioning, right? You should encourage people not being yes men doing what you're told because you want success in your organization. But you have to be able to defend it, right? Defend it from a position of knowledge and understanding and experience. Wisdom, right? Wisdom is where knowledge and experience come together, right? So today, so I've done a little bit of everything, right, inside my company. But one of the biggest things that I've done is, I'm getting told to turn my gain up.
There you go.
It's sales.
The producers in your ear?
Yeah, producers in my ear with, I'm watching the private chat here. So just long story short, I have certain metrics for my team. Now, my team's a virtual team, so I don't give them the same metrics as I do in an office team. Same thing. You have managed, unmanaged people. Each one is going to perform at a different level. And I've played all the numbers out. I split tested everything, and I personally done the job. So today I got into one of the guys because he had and it's not just a one-day thing. It's successive days, hour and 8 minutes of talk time as a closer, acquisition sales rep in an 8-hour day. The average call is between 20 and 30 seconds for a non-pickup. He dialed like 70-some people. You just do the math. If on average, voicemails are picking up at 30 seconds and your talk time is on average less than a minute, you know what I mean? So I got into it with him and he tried telling me, well, no, boss, listen. He goes, no, boss, not everyone was picking up. That's why I said, totally agree. If no one's picking up, it should be that much easier. If there's 420 minutes in an 8-hour, 7-hour shift in your day, you should be able to dial about 800 people. But let's just say you don't even do that because it takes time for the website to, let's just say 4. And I kept going down. I'm like, but bud, you're not even down at 200. You're down at 72, right? And he goes, well, it takes time. Listen, he's like, it takes time for IF3 to load and it takes time for me to write my notes and it takes time for me to click the call. And I just stopped. And I said, fuck that. I said, that's bullshit. And I contained myself, but I went into like a rant. And I said, I am not asking you to do anything I haven't done. I said, who do you think floats this company when you guys aren't closing? Who do you think closed deals before I hired you guys? Before I built my team, how do you think I did that? It was me closing, me cold calling, me using the same systems you're using now. You think that 2 hours is tough? In-office people had to talk for 4 hours. Me. You think me asking you to dial 50 people a day and talk for 2 hours? My metrics alone are double that, but I didn't give you Brandin metrics. I was like, I gave you virtual team metrics at 50% of what in-office metrics are because you are virtual. So I've lowered your scale down at a minimum and you're still at half of that. Yeah. And he goes, well, sir, boss, he always calls me sir, boss. He's like, well, it's not that. It's that the leads are older. It's that, you would have to agree that newer leads will pick up for us when we call and the older leads won't. I said, fuck that shit. That don't matter. The leads don't know that you're calling when you haven't talked to them. I said, it's what you do when you get on the phone, right? How do you talk to them? And I said this, and Carlos, you're big into sales. I said, here's the thing, guys. I said, sales is a mindset. And I was like, I've been doing this job in real estate for 12 years and I've been selling all my life. I come from a house of sales. And I was like, one thing I know, it's never the leads. It's never the system. It's always the salesperson. Any salesperson telling somebody that it's the leads or the system is not a good salesperson. They either haven't learned what they need to learn, they're not progressing on their own, they're not asking themselves what they did wrong, and saying it's the salesperson problem, I don't think is a bad thing, right? It just says, if it's not the leads in the system, I messed up on my call, what do I have to do to get better? And that's the lesson. But moral of what I'm trying to tie this together is I was only able to check his excuses because I had actually done the job. I had counted the metrics out. I had watched my dials. I had all the data, between IF3's data and between smartphone. You know what I mean? I know IF3 is not a slow system. It's a fucking fast system. If I was in Podio, maybe I'd fucking believe it. So for him to say that to me, like I'm not in the system every day, and I said that to him, like I'm not a boss who sits on a throne. I use that line. Like I'm not a boss who sits on the throne and just tells you to do something because I don't know it's possible. Guys, all these numbers make sense. Every one of them. I got companies over here that I talk to my buddies, and their team's beating these numbers. I said, so maybe it's a salesperson problem. And like you have to be able to defend yourself and your metrics, your processes, your systems, right? I've tried many systems before IF3. I tried many call systems before smartphone. I tried many dialers before ZenCall, and so on and so on. So I know what my team has is the very best for what it is we do and how we do it.
Yep.
So for him to say that, I was able to call it bullshit. And my manager was there going, he was like, egging me on. He was like, fucking get him, fucking get him. And that's the thing. And it's like, guys, you have all the tools.
Yeah.
But could I say that if I just hired these people and I've never closed a deal? And when I say closed a deal, I've closed hundreds of deals myself. I spoke from a position of knowledge. And that's where I think what Carlos is saying. 100%. That's what I think, John, and I don't mean to speak for you, but am I right? Like, do you guys 100%. Agree with that?
Yeah. Shameless plug. So Let's Talk Real Estate and stuff now is all uploaded on YouTube, and podcast will be publishing. It's done, but Apple and Spotify have to say yes. Anyways, I did all of that myself. And now, I've learned it all, figured out the best way to do it.
I bet you're about to say you processed that out.
No, that's my thing. So literally after this show, in my calendar, I have an hour where I go and then be like, okay, this is what I have to do for next week. This is how I finish the show. I'm about to make a document. And then come June, somebody else is going to do it. But I wouldn't be able to create the best experience. I wouldn't be able to, give feedback to somebody if I hadn't gone in
feedback
and myself.
Feedback, right there. How can you give feedback if you haven't done it? But I guess all I'm getting at too is with salespeople, because they are very, Carlos, right? Ego-driven, high functioning alpha. They will challenge you like a lion challenges the leader of the pride, right? That's why we hire them. And so when you're hearing excuses like this and them challenging your process, your script, your metrics, are you able to speak to that? Can you hop on the phones and close a fucking deal or do a live call with you, which I do all the time. I'll get them on the phone. Listen to me. Watch me make this. So one time someone talked to someone for 2 or 3 minutes. You know what I did? I called that guy back as a totally different company. I was on the phone with him I found out his pain. I found out why he was selling. It wasn't the right time for him, found out why. And I was able to list all these things. And I'm just like, here's the call, bro. Do you see this? How was I able to talk for 11, 15 minutes and you can only talk for 2 to 3? What's the difference? The questions I ask, how I dive deep. It's not a lead problem. I'll show you. I'll show you how it's done. Lead from the front, right? Leaders lead. Bosses sit back on the throne and tell people what to do.
Yep. Be a leader, people. Be a leader.
It's the only way to do it.
Leaders are readers.
Leaders are readers. And I've been slacking on my reading lately, but John gave me a phenomenal book. I'm going to read Alex Hormozy's $100 million offer, $100 million, 100 mil offer.
Love that.
Offer. Yeah.
Love that.
If wants to be in the marketing, you should read it.
I was going to say Papa P's before we talk $100 million offers or any books. I was going to say what Papa P's story kind of reminds me of. If you haven't at least done all the aspects of the business yourself a little bit, it's almost like going to meet a seller at a property and talking about comps without having comps. You're just like, well, I can give you 135 here. They're like, oh, why? I'm like, well, I don't have comps. I'm just kind of. It looks like 135. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of.
That's a great analogy.
And like, but people will say, so the whole thing, man, is you're battling an industry that says, why do it yourself when you can purchase someone else's system? Here's what I'm going to say. I got the 10X behind me, right? I'm like, I'm on the Grant Cardone fucking bandwagon. I don't care. He's a phenomenal sales guy, whatever you want to say about him.
Marketing
But he
guy.
always said, in life, in every single situation, you're either selling or being sold. And what I say to those people is, you got sold, bro. You got fucking sold a bag of goods because they wanted $1.99 or $2.99 or $8 an hour for their caller, and they told you what you needed to hear to say yes to them and sacrifice doing it now to hurrying up and doing it, which sacrifices you in the end. Like, how are you going to build a $100 million company? You going to plug and play that bitch together? I don't know any billion-dollar company that has outsourced every aspect of their business and plug and played everything with the CEO sitting by the pool.
Yeah. Doesn't happen.
We have pool parties at Brandon's house because he's done every aspect of the business for so long.
Yes.
And is always hiring.
Yes.
Check out previous episodes of Let's Talk Real Estate to learn more, and future ones.
Me on my pool, bro, this weekend pool time. It's the only month I use my pool in Florida, May and the beginning of June, and then it rains every day.
What's the move in Florida? Just stay inside when it's hot and just crank the AC? Just stay inside during the day?
It's okay to be hot in Florida as long as you don't have anywhere to go. So I could be out in 110-degree weather, shirtless, loving life outside with my kids, not caring that I'm sweating and I smell. But the second I'm walking from my truck 10 feet into Lowe's and I'm sweating, I'm just bitching. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. I hate Florida. Why do we live here? Why don't I live in Colorado? But like, I can be outside for 5 hours on a Saturday where I don't got to do anything, sweating and not caring. It's just all about like, it's nothing worse than having to get from A to B when you step out of your car, butt sweat, dude. That's why I got the AC seats in my truck, bro. So that way I'm always blowing cold air up my butt crack.
There you go. Hashtag butt sweat.
Anybody in real estate that has to go project to project in a hot state like Florida knows exactly what I'm talking about, because your truck's out of the project in the sun, you get in your vehicle, those seats are hot and your butt's sweating if you ain't got AC cool seats. Just saying, anybody watching this that actually does it, they know what I'm talking about. Let me know.
Oh my gosh.
Where do you guys see good rentals ROI? Man, someone left that message on YouTube. That's a good question. I'll tell you what, though. I say where I find them is on my own deals. On my own deals. I buy flip deals from other wholesalers all the time. My best investments, and I buy like mobile homes in my home area, are on my own deals. I am looking for duplexes, quads. I'm looking for multifamily, and I see what's on the market versus what I get. Your best ROI is always going to be on your own deals. You get them at a discount because you don't, and everyone's got to make money, and I get that. But the way I structured my business is to go find my own deals for myself and cherry pick them. That's my 2 cents.
I think too, like, you've gotten really, let's call it niche down. I don't know what the terminology is.
Yeah.
You know your market, you know Polk County, you know what's around, and you could probably, I don't know, make better rental rates with a single family home, but you saw mobile homes, you researched that, you understood it, and like you pick something, right? And you're like, this is what I'm going to be good at and know about.
I mean, I like it. I like my multifamilies. I'm not a single family rental guy. I know I'm going to get fucking torn apart for that because there's so many guys who count doors. I don't care about that. I collect land with mobiles. I'm collecting land. I have ulterior motives for what I'm doing on my larger scale. But to answer JT's question, like when I look for rentals, I'm looking for my own deals. I want to make sure, like, I don't buy single families for the appreciation and all that. Rentals aren't, it's hard to explain to people, but rentals don't get you rich. Like, you don't actually make money on rentals. Again, people are going to be like, what are you talking about, Brandon? Listen, so I have a separate account. for my rentals. That money, I don't get it. It's not like I cash flow, and when I cash flow $200 after all my expenses, I take that money and I take my family out to the Sizzler. You know what I'm saying? Like, that money has to go into an account that I'm never going to see, because when somebody calls for a repair, you know, so like, that's why I don't really mess around. That's why I like mobiles. They have less issues a lot of time because of the demographic. Multifamilies, you know, I owned a lot of duplexes and quads prior to selling them off, prior to COVID, which was, yeah, I get it. That was a dumb move, but I own my mistakes. Really thought we were going to tank there for a moment. Sometimes you call it wrong, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes you call it wrong. So that's where I find them. Look for your own deals. Don't allow someone to jack on 50, 60%, that they're 50 to 60K on your rental. Yeah, your numbers may still work, but shit, they would have worked a lot better when you got it yourself. And you also have more flexibility with the deal, JT. When you get them yourself, like, I've had realtors pitch me deals, but they don't understand how I want to do maybe a creative deal, a seller finance. They don't feel comfortable presenting that. Another wholesaler, it's really hard to negotiate with a seller how you want to structure your deal when you got to go through a wholesaler, because what if that wholesaler doesn't understand or is not a good salesman to pitch that idea to them? You know, because a lot of these guys have no experience. So you're trying to say, listen, you know, will they hold a note? Will they do this? Can I buy this on seller finance if I put this much down? Like, that's where I get my ROI, by structuring a deal directly with a seller. That's why I like my own deals for rentals.
That's good advice.
Boom. How about that market crash?
I was going to say, is anybody asking about stocks and crypto in the chat?
No.
Or on YouTube? If not, we should talk about
it. Didn't Bitcoin bounce back?
No problem. Let's take a look. So I have a significant holding in crypto, which I don't care what anybody says. Love it. Still love it. Crypto is the only industry where when you make money, you're like, let me buy more. And when you lose money, you go, holy shit, it's on sale. Let me buy more. But yeah, Luna's crashing, man. That's a real shame. They say Citadel's behind it. I don't know if anyone's figured that out yet. I haven't been up to date on today's news. They did halt the protocol. It's basically Wall Street's BlackRock and Citadel made this deal with Do Kwon, like Terra Luna, about trying to buy. They bought Bitcoin. They were going to do something with them. As soon as they agreed, like Do Kwon, the Terra Luna Foundation agreed, Wall Street basically went and sold everything, putting extreme pressure onto the Terra US and to Luna, which is tied together sort of, which pushed everything down. Then you had panic ensue. You had panic ensue.
So is it really considered a crash? I guess it is considered a crash.
Oh yeah, I mean, people argue with you whether we're in a bear market or not. Again, I don't care. I'm just buying projects that I like. I thought Luna was a good project. I was not invested in Luna. However, in full disclosure,
are you buying Luna right now?
Full disclosure, I bought the Luna crash. And it kept crashing.
Oh no.
And my $3,000 turned into what is now 12 cents.
What?
Oh, I love it. I'm buying more today. So I asked my wife, I'm like, listen, honey, here's what I'm going to do. And
I would love to be like a fly on the wall in these conversations.
This is why I love her. She's like, you know what? Like, you're going to do it anyway. Like, it's money I'm not going to see. She goes, fuck it. I'm like, honey, you know what? I only put $500 in. I already lost $3,000. I'll put $500 in, you know? She's like, go do it. And we did like the little, I was like, come on.
Well, tell her too that her and the kids are still getting a nice Sizzler dinner tonight. Either way. So, I mean, this is
Sizzler dinner on that $200 cash flow.
Appetizers, desserts, they're getting the whole nine.
But no, I mean, I couldn't time the bottom. I mean, I believe in, I don't know. The only way it's going to go defunct, I mean, they halted the system to try to manage this whole situation. Will it open back up? Will it not? I don't know. It was $3,000. I didn't really care. I was like, you know, I had it sitting there and I was like, let me trade. I sold some Bitcoin and I just transferred it over and I bought it. And, you know?
The Coinbase in Papa P is way more advanced and in the crypto game than I am. The interesting news I heard with the interesting news I heard with Coinbase is essentially if they go like bankrupt or die as a company, everybody's wallets or earnings that are on there or coins that are on there just will evaporate.
It's because you don't own them.
Yeah, it's on the Coinbase.
You should never have your money on an exchange. Never have your money on an exchange.
So where would you suggest for crypto enthusiasts listening to this?
Man, I don't want to be that guy. Definitely want to stick in my realm. Just never allow, if you don't have your keys, it's not your crypto. Get your crypto off of there. I'm not going to
like a cold wallet, like a physical office.
I would say there's many hot wallets you can move on to. There are many cold wallet holders that you can move on to. I use various. I never hold too much in any one. I have so many. I just don't want to get into where I hold shit. I think that's a stupid thing because of people, but there are so many out there. Do your research, get it off of there. You get stuck on an exchange, bro. If Carlos is right, so exchanges do what banks do. Because you buy $10,000 in Bitcoin, you don't actually get it. It's just a number on your account. They keep that. So they keep that, and then they loan that out like up to 9 times to other people. They're making money on your money. If we're in crypto because we hate the banks, why are you letting the exchanges also do what the banks do to us? They use our money, right? This happens to me all the time. They use my money. Then when I don't have any money, and I'm like, oh shit, my account overdrafts, then they charge me $35. I never have money in my account. All of our money's in something. Like I have enough to pay my bills. I have zero cash ever. And then they charge me $35. I'm like, bro, how are you going to charge me more money when I don't have money? You already see I'm at zero. Why are you taking another $35 from me? How does that sound? When I got money, do you give me more money? They're like, yeah, we give you 0.001%. I'm like, and they're over there because banks can loan your money out up to 9 times. Yeah. So that's what they're doing. They're loaning you, and that's what exchanges do too. That's why you should never keep your keys. That and what Carlos said. Never keep your coins on there. Move them off immediately.
Love it.
It also doesn't reduce the supply either. So, if you're trying to raise the price of your crypto, you need to move them off because otherwise it never reduces the supply of that. If you move it off into a cold wallet, that is not an available supply to trade because it's off into your own private wallet. If it's on the exchange, that available supply still stays the same because the exchange is still trading your $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, which you just gave them cash for. So, but I think it's crazy though. I'm going to get off that topic because I don't want to be the guy talking about specifics, but you guys, this crash, right? Meltdown in real estate. Carlos, what are you hearing about people in real estate? Because interest rates go up. That's one of the reasons why crypto started coming down this past week long before Luna. Interest rates got hiked, is it half a basis point, 0.5%, half a basis point? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like a lot of times that we've talked about crypto, we're almost like, oh, we don't want to get too off topic, but really it is pretty related because people are looking for places to put money with inflation and all this stuff. And I've said this in internal meetings on here. I kind of feel like house prices are where they're at for not necessarily inventory and stuff obviously plays a big deal in that, and people wanting to buy real estate more because they see inflation and they're like, oh, they might be willing to overpay just because they're like, oh, I want a solid asset to put my money into. But I think it's really the devalue of the dollar is what's keeping real estate, just kind of in my own intuition, not actively doing research and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't think our industry is necessarily investors aren't affected as first time home buyers, for example, are right now. But it's all related. It is all related.
Does an investor end up selling to a first time home buyer?
Yeah. Does an investor?
I mean, I'm just saying it's a cycle, right? I mean, that's the whole point of investors. Maybe not the first time home buyer.
It's a long catch up, right? I do see. When I say this, I want to full disclosure. I've been saying the market was going to go down since 2017, and I've been wrong for 5 years. So take this with a grain of salt. I don't think it's going to crash. I just think we're going to slow down. I think there's not available supply. I think we're going to slow down. So I trained my team today on affordability. So my closers, after we had that little speech about how to do sales and salespeople, I went in and we had a long conversation about how to put fear into sellers without actually saying your house is going to be worth less. But I had to teach them. So like when you're raising up those interest rates, man, those first time home buyers, what Carlos is saying, it's going to hurt them the most because their affordability is going down. Now, what that really means is what's going to happen to those prices. Or the prices, because the people in that next price level up either have to wait for that house to come back down, or they have to move to the next category of lower, shittier homes below. And as Americans, do we want smaller, shittier homes, or do we want some home prices to kind of slow down and catch up to where our affordability is?
Slow down.
So I don't think it's going to fall that much. I don't think a 400K home is going to become a 300K home. I think a 400K home rightfully is probably going to be worth 350, 360, which is where it should be.
Right. Prices are going to reset a little bit.
Like I got a 400K home that's really a 350K home. I'm still putting it on at 400. I'm trying to hurry to do it because I know me getting these prices is only going to last for another month or two as all this catches up to us. Yeah. Usually I read takes about 6 to 8 months for like those interest rates to really kick in and see home prices pulling back. I can say my mom, I was trying to help her buy a house last night, random, came on in the day. It's like a 650K home. You know what I mean? Like very nice home in Lakeland. And she really wanted it. I'm like, all right, let's do this, man. Let's fucking go. So we're going to do this. And I'm not a realtor anymore. I'm just helping her out. And like, so we make an offer. So if the market's really softening, right, go make an offer. And we did this all in less than 10 hours. From the time it came on, showing it, offer, boom. Already had one offer, 50,000 or more. I don't know exactly. I just know they beat us out. Over list price. We made a cash offer over list price. And they were getting one more again. And though legally the realtor can't tell me, again saying, going to be over list price. Whether it'll praise out or not is another thing. But you're still seeing at that price level people today wanting it. Will that happen in a couple months?
Right.
I don't think so. I think it'll slow down. I don't think it'll praise out. I'm hoping it doesn't because I thought the house was fucking cool.
Interesting.
You know, these things are going to slow down, guys.
Yeah.
But as wholesalers, we have to offer less. But you can't do that if you're not trained on how to teach your seller about how the market's slowing down without creating what I call friction, right? I always do this on the phones with my guys, like friction. You don't want to create friction by insulting them, telling them their house isn't worth what it is. You have to plant a seed and then allow them to feel fear. And then once they feel that fear, they will be more open to hearing the number that you have to say as they rationalize why money now is better than the risk of not even getting that later on and sacrificing what they think they could get.
I'm curious. I mean, you know, I'm a software guy and a business guy, and although my software is in real estate, I'm not that savvy. So if a slowdown starts to occur and prices start to reset to where they, let's quote unquote say, should be, and do you think it would actually help with sellers because there's no longer this like, what? I'm not going to sell my house to that. Like the market's so hot, I can just like get whatever the hell I want for on the MLS or whatever. Is there going to be a good benefit to, you know, the housing, like, you know, houses take longer to sell. They're not like same day offers when they list. Is it going to be beneficial to the average wholesaler with chatting with sellers?
Well, so it's two parts. I think what a lot of people aren't talking about is it depends on who your list or target demographic is. So John, right now it works, right? Like you could live in a house and say, well, I'm moving up to be with my kids. I'm gonna sell this house, or hey, honey, listen, we can downsize now, sell this house at top dollar, buy a better home in a better area for less money because it's smaller, whatever it is, right? Because they live there, and we're buying those houses. We're buying non-distressed houses too, right?
Yeah.
So what I think is going to happen is those people aren't probably going to sell. So you are going to lose a demographic because if they're not going to get top dollar, they have no reason to just sell their main
comfortable
home.
There's no
But
need.
I think the people that are going to have some fear struck into them are people with investment properties, second homes, vacant home, real distress. Whereas they were being difficult before. And I could tell you stories for days about people thinking their home's worth the Taj Mahal price versus the piece of shit it really is. I think those people, like landlords, think about a landlord.
Yeah.
If you were a landlord in 2007 and you didn't sell your home at top price, you had to hold on to that thing another 8 years to get back to where you would have gotten in 2007, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to start to say, I better sell now. Otherwise, I might have to hold this thing for 3, 5, or 6 years to get this price again. Yeah. So it all depends on the list that you're targeting, in my belief. And that's how we're kind of pivoting with us and what I'm training my sales guys on. Yeah. That we got to look for the right people. Because you're right, John. This is going to change the way wholesalers do business and who we're going after. And I love it. I think it's good. As long as you're going after the right people, because it will feel good. And I'm being petty.
This sounds like a good future episode topic.
Yeah. Oh, what, this? Yeah, because it'll feel good to tell these motherfuckers, your house isn't worth $150K for a 600 square foot 1970 mobile. Land value, baby. Land value. Well, the house next door, they tore it down and built a mansion. Well, does that guy need a second lot? Because I don't see you getting another one of those. You know, like... So, yeah, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be satisfying for wholesalers.
Love it.
And I just wish you guys were like, Carlos, you did it back in the day. You were wholesaling before. Mm-hmm. Remember what it was like in 2000 and whatever? Like I said, so long ago. I mean, all you had to do was pick up the phone, and these people were selling to us. They didn't talk back. I say it like that, but I mean, you know, they didn't argue with you. They haggled you a little. They didn't think their home was worth that much, which it wasn't. Like... Now it's like,
yep, all direct mail, all PPC leads. The only time I got cussed out was Dan. Towards the beginning, Dan sent out mail to a high equity list, but it was like a Jewish neighborhood in Baltimore suburbs of like all $1 million houses. And I just got cussed out by Jewish people, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me or not. That was very early on, but yeah, I mean, I'd imagine it's a lot easier back then, or a lot less resistance with sellers back then than it is now. And just like technology too, like access to Zillow and wholesaling becoming more mainstream and stuff like that. If you guys follow Brandin on Instagram, the letters he gets back are hilarious. I've seen a lot of people get those types of letters back. Are absolutely hilarious. It's hilarious thinking about the time people put into writing those letters back and what's their end game, like what they think is going to happen.
Yeah.
After they put that FU letter that they took time to handwrite, they closed their mail. I imagine this. They close their mailbox, kind of bend over and go, ha, I got it. And then they walk away and they go, hey, honey, listen to this. And then, you know, like that's what I feel happens when they do it. And you know what, man, like that's cool. You can just do what you got to do. You know, I've had people do that. I've had somebody, I think I told this story where they call and then they bullshit you and they tell you what you want to hear. And then at the end, the guy, because I was on the call, like this was me on the call. And the guy's like, I was just fucking with you. I just wanted to waste your fucking time like you wasted mine. And I'm thinking, I didn't say this, but I'm like, bro, you just wasted your own time. You called me back and wasted your own fucking time. What are you talking about, dude?
I got you good, but
yeah,
I have to take. I'm taking my wife. I'm taking my wife to Sizzlers now, and I'm hanging up. But I'm glad I wasted your time. Is
Sizzlers even still around?
I have no idea.
Is this a place anyway? It used to be.
I'm googling.
Sizzlers. Give me an iDrive. Like iDrive's the place where International Drive in Disney area where restaurants that don't exist anywhere else still survive. There's like a grocery store across from the Disney, downtown Disney, that that's the only place it is. I can't remember.
Speaking of which, sorry to cut you. I wanted to talk about one more thing on Hot Topic. We're going to call this segment Pulse of the Week. Honolulu. On top, we already talked about this before. Honolulu is now talking about making Airbnbs not so much illegal, but saying that your minimum stay has to be 90 days.
Wow.
I was like, because the hotel business is probably
because the hotel commission Now that they have this, right? Because the hotels really suffered during shutdown. Because Hawaii, me and my wife tried going to Hawaii. Like, we wanted to go. That was going to be where we went. You couldn't go. Like, they shut the islands down. Then they opened it up with all the protocols where you had to stay quarantined in your hotel. They took a hit, man. That whole state took a huge hit of tourism. So I think, like, they're done with Airbnbs. I don't know, but remember we talked about Atlanta being done with Airbnb too?
That's an interesting one. Atlanta, the reason was because they don't have enough houses for actual people that want to live in Atlanta. Yeah. But Hawaii is like, it's ruining the vacation industry.
I get Atlanta, but Hawaii, I mean, I personally, so like if I want to bring my whole family with me, I really love the Airbnb in a place like Hawaii, because if I want to bring 10 of my family, right, like cousins, whatever, parents, you get a big house. And you cook food and you have a family dinner and you enjoy life. I don't want to be in little hotel rooms speckled across like floors of a hotel. Like, I've done that younger. That's how we all grew up, right? Like, if you've ever done family vacations with relatives, that's how it was. And it wasn't very connected.
No. Yeah.
So I don't know if I agree with, like, I'm not an Airbnb guy, but I just don't know if I agree with it. What do you guys think?
That's really interesting. I mean, that's why I love going to the mountains in North Carolina. There's some hotels, but nothing like, a destination spot like Orlando, like Miami, like Honolulu. Like, they have a crap ton of hotels. And I can see Airbnbs really kind of disrupting that business there. I think, markets where there are no Airbnbs are no hotels are a very intriguing place to buy Airbnbs, because people want exactly what you just said. They see that as being something really special for a vacation. But that's intriguing. I mean, I think that speaks to like the friction of the times, right? And like the consumer is just like the same thing that happened with Uber, right? And taxis. Like the taxis had to try and fight back tooth and nail.
But they didn't win.
No, we got to survive somehow.
But so they didn't win.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So it's really curious. I mean, and people have money invested in hotels and so on and so forth. And
I get that.
So it's intriguing, like, who's going to win that in the long run. I think Airbnbs will.
No, I'm pretty sure this is already a thing. Like, I don't know if it passed or is trying to pass, but let's just say it passes, because the hotel commission has a big thing, and it's like the hotel commission in Vegas, right? Like, hotels run the town.
Right.
I guess all I'm asking is, do you guys agree with it? I don't agree with it.
Oh, no, I don't think so at all. I think, the consumer has spoken, and nobody should try to contain. They're going to take their business and go somewhere else. If they can't go to Hawaii and stay in the Airbnb to have that experience that they want, they're going to go to somewhere else. They're going to start going to like South Pacific Asia, if that's what it's going to be, to get that experience that they want. So like, there's no point in putting a law like that. Like,
it just depends on, and it's like, you go with your family, you go with multiple families, friends, you want an Airbnb. But listen, I'm not going to lie, like, all a hotel has to do to sell me on using them is when I don't have my kids, give me and my wife, like, a hotel that has a spa, a gym, room service, a pool, a sauna, a steam room, maybe like some activities. I will get the hotel over Airbnb all day. I will work out, hang out by the pool, read books, maybe go sightsee, but mostly live in the hotel and get room service all the freaking time and lay in the bed with my wife. Like, that's what I'm going to do. That's the benefit to a hotel.
Yeah.
But to go with a mass amount of people, the hotel doesn't have a competitive advantage.
Yeah, it's like the all-inclusive resort thing. Like, that's like, I know a lot of people that do that in Mexico or in South America. Because, I mean, that is the advantage of like an all-inclusive, right? Like, they're like, oh my God, I have to go rent an Airbnb. How do I find food? Like, how do I transport myself around?
Yeah, I don't want to do that in Mexico. I don't want to do that in like Bolivia, Colombia or something. You know what I mean? Like, trying to go find a little corner store to buy my groceries. I don't want to do that.
I think more hotels should switch to that strategy inside the United States, because they're still stuck in the like, buy a room and then drinks and the food and services at the hotel still cost a lot of money. If you, like you're saying, make it more of an experience and like this is the benefit of staying at the hotel, these are the things that you can get, then more people.
Each one has its advantage. Mm-hmm. Each one has its pluses and minuses, and they need to play to that. I'll stay at a hotel in Hawaii when it's just me or me and my wife, or if I'm bringing everybody, like I want an Airbnb. I want a 5-bedroom house on the beach where I could cook meals, play in the yard, bring my dog. Obviously, I'm not bringing my dog to Hawaii, but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The lake. We got, I'm going to the lake in June. We got a big cabin for the whole family. We're right on the water. We got a dock. We're renting a boat. We're bringing the dog. Like, I can't do that in a hotel and get the same experience. We're going to cook dinner, hit the grocery store. You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing, awesome. We're going to stay for more than a week. That's an Airbnb experience.
Mm-hmm. Airbnb is very similar to like a lot of stuff like Uber and crypto. It's like just giving power back to like the consumer, whatever their choices, experience they want, choices.
Let the market decide. That's the thing. I think, a government, like hotel commission coming in, go to the government, say, let's make this rule. Nobody else gets to do that in business. I'm not like, I had to compete for my customers in my CRM. I'm not going to like the internet. I'm not going to Google and saying, hey, I really think that these CRMs suck. Let's go ahead and just make a law, but they don't show up on Google anymore. Like, no, change your offer, change your marketing appearance, compete. Don't break the rules. Like, that's not fair.
Well, going back to government regulation, I do think this Terra Luna thing is definitely, just like the Airbnb and the shortage of houses gave the government a chance to step in. I think the same thing's going to happen. The government looks for any chance to step in. Anytime. And they do it all. I'm going to protect the little guy. I don't need your fucking protection. Okay? Mm-hmm. Even long before I made money, I didn't want or need your protection. I didn't need you to watch my money and use my money against me.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave my money alone. Well, they're like, well, if you lose it, you want to protect it. Should you? If I lose it, I'm just an idiot. Like, I lost my $3,000 in trying to buy the bottom of the Terra Luna, and like, is someone giving me that money back? Like, no. I'm like a man. You go up, made a bad call on that one. I got to own my fucking decisions. Mm-hmm. I don't think a watchdog should help me with that. Nope. But that's what they're doing with Airbnbs. And they're going to put what are you going to do if you're an Airbnb holder? And those homes aren't cheap. Not like you're buying a $100,000 house. Some of those people, like I know guys who bought $1 million homes on the beach with, as a group, solely for the purpose of Airbnb. Mm-hmm. You take that away, what happens?
Sell those houses, and they're going to not probably sell to actual homeowners. Because how many people can actually buy houses like that? And then they're just going to sit there.
Start flooding the housing market with some supply. If that happens, if it does, I don't know. That's a shitty thing. The 90-day stay. What am I going on vacation for 90 fucking days? What is this? I saw that. I was like, 90 days. Who's taking a vacation for 90 days?
Well, that's the people that are newer in wholesaling and they hire everything out right from the get-go, and then they just do a 90-day Airbnb.
And they bring along their videographer, and they just take like a 90-day photo shoot.
They're at the pool and Sizzler. They're doing all type of good stuff. There's 3 Sizzlers around me, and 2 of them are closed, by the way.
Yeah.
That's good.
It's been around since 1958. Started in Culver City, California. The Dead Sizzler family.
Sizzlers.
I was Wikipediaing it. I was very. Oh man! All right, guys.
Maybe I'll throw some stock into Sizzler this weekend.
Yeah, you'll wind up like Terry Lynn. Like, I'll see you at the bottom, bro. I'll see you at the bottom.
Good
well, another great Friday.
Tune in next week for more excellence.
Indeed.
Watch the old episodes on YouTube. Search inside of podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Maybe Tuesday. Just waiting for them to say yes. Let's.
Honestly, they should just tune in on Friday.
Yeah, just tune in on Friday. We want more comments. People ask questions. We want them to laugh along with us.
Laugh along.
We're just here having a great time. We want you to be having a great time with us.
All right, guys. Lock and load, baby. Finger Gun Friday. Sit down today.
See you guys.
Have a great pool time, guys.
We will. I'll be over at like 6 o'clock.
Sounds great.
Let's do it.
See ya.